Frontline with Courtney Kenny, and I'm Tom Parisi, and today we got a great set of guests. It's another exciting episode of the Frontline podcast. I'm Tom Parisi, he's Courtney Kenny, and we are joined by one of the more recent draft picks of your North Bay Battalion, Dallin Wakely. And Dallin, we're happy to have you, but I got to ask you, on a daily basis, how many times does your name get butchered?
Oh, on a daily basis, man, it's sad to say, but like at least 2 or 3 times. Like I'll be out in public or at the golf course and like signing in, and they're just like, "Are you Dallin Wakely?" And I'm like, I guess so. I'm Dallin Wakely, close enough. But I appreciate you guys. When I came on, you asked me how to pronounce the name, so that's always nice.
That just goes with the territory. I can't tell you how many names over the years, we've mispronounced, especially in hockey, when you get maybe a European player or someone with a name you just haven't come across before.
Yeah, no, and sometimes I get the first name and the last name wrong, and then it's like, I don't know what to correct first. My last name.
What's the worst pronunciation you've ever had?
It's a lot of the similar stuff, like Dalen. Like some people say Dylan, and I'm like, the Y is after the A and the L, but yeah, I don't know. It's quite confusing sometimes. I don't know if they're talking to me or not, but
I get it, but only with the spelling. You'll see people. Well, Courtney's not a common name for a guy, but you'll see it with they'll put a U in there, or they'll spell it with the C. My last name is the one that you see misspelled the most, because if there's an E in there, they think there's a D, so then it's Kennedy, and you're like, no, I appreciate it. I'm not related to that family, but
Full disclosure,
yeah.
I used to spell your name wrong, Courtney.
I know.
All the time.
The thing that blows me away though is when it's on Facebook or something where my name's right there, and someone will be like, "Happy birthday, Courtney," with like a C or something. You're like, "All right, thanks." Like,
they get the substitute teacher and they're just butchering everybody's name, and then they get to you and they don't even want to bother saying your name because it's just.
And I'm lucky, Tom. Although my last name's been butchered a few times, but nowhere near as bad as you guys.
Yeah.
Well, some people I know, when I say it's Parisi, they think it's spelled like Zach Parisi. Right?
Yeah, I get a lot of the French pronunciation, which is fine. What was it? Was it Bob Coles, who used to, the color guy who used to say Parise for a long time?
Yeah, Parise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, at least people still know how to pronounce Courtney for me. So let's dive into it. It's been, I think it's been a year now since the draft, which is crazy. Well, first off, we got to ask, because we've talked to a lot of people about this who didn't think that you'd be at 30, but there you were. What was that kind of like that day of, where everyone seemed to think you were going to be a top 10 pick, but you saw your name slide and slide until you hit 30? And then what was it like seeing the battalion pick you?
Well, first off, I just want to thank Adam Dennis and everyone in North Bay. I mean, getting that, like, I think Adam called me at around the 28th pick, and he was like, "Would you report to North Bay?" And in the moment, like, you don't know what to expect for that call. Like, you don't know the feelings that are overtake you. But like, I was just so excited, and of course I was going to come. Like, that was never a question. So it was just like a heck yeah, and the family was super excited. But honestly, I was in the same boat, like just seeing pick after pick go by, not seeing my name come up or not getting a call from anyone. I tried to stay calm as best as I could and just kind of, see what happens. But my dad, he's been along with me, the whole way. So he was, I think he was a little upset or whatever as well. But, North Bay, we couldn't ask for any more. I mean, they've been so first class. I was lucky enough to went on a little vacation up there for a weekend and met Adam, and yeah, it's a great spot up there. I couldn't ask for any better.
How nerve-wracking is it since the draft? It's been about a year, and you signed on pretty quickly, but how nerve-wracking has it been to just not be able to play?
Yeah, like it's funny because I work with a lot of, like, I like to be up with older guys and always work away with guys that have been there. So I always get the 0 games played chirp. They're like, "You haven't played a game yet, buddy, so you can't say anything." But it's hard, right? Because, my whole life, I have goals, and obviously the end goal is to, play in the NHL one day. And a stepping stone, obviously, and one of my goals has been to play in the OHL. And, it's been a year now since I was drafted and haven't played a game, but it's nerve wracking as well, because next year's my NHL draft year, and there's not much scouting they can do. They're not going to go back to my minor midget year and base a pick off of that. So it's just, I try to best prepare myself as well as I can for the season, and whenever we get going, I just hope to hit it in stride and do really well for these guys.
This is always kind of a tough question to ask because nobody knows, and especially with yesterday's announcement of we're going back to stay-at-home order and all that stuff. In your feelings as a player, I know there's been a lot of movement on social media lately, players not playing and stuff like that. But in your opinion as a player, do you think that you will see the ice with the battalion this season?
This season, I've been pretty hopeful all along. And I think honestly the league, and I'd like to think the league, and I know North Bay they've been really open with us and honest as much as they can really about the potential for a season. If we hit the ice this season, great. But at this point in time for myself, I'm just trying to be as ready as possible. If we start next month or if we start in September, hopefully we hear some news here soon so I can kind of set my off season plan and, actually have goals in mind for the next months ahead, not kind of just guessing. But if we hit the ice, great. I mean, I can't wait to be a North Bay battalion. So I look forward to it.
Go ahead, Courtney.
I was just going to mention, we had Luke Moncada on a while ago, and he mentioned that his off season was tough because he would get ramped up every time there seemed like there was going to be a season or something happening. Did you find yourself going through the same situation, come October, come December, come February, ramping up for this and then nothing really happening?
Yeah, I mean, this off season, like last summer, was by far, I put so much work in. It kind of fueled me going 30. Like I obviously, like we said, I didn't really expect to go in the second round, but it was a great accomplishment, and it kind of fueled me. My off season was great. I felt really in shape, and then yeah, each time it gets pushed back, you kind of reset. And the cardio bike, I think you might have mentioned too, like getting on the bike and just gassing yourself in workouts is just killer, man. So having to do that over and over again is quite draining. But I'm looking to get a bike actually for myself here at home. So with the lockdown and stuff, I don't have to be just running. I can be on the bike and stuff. But yeah.
We've seen a lot of guys. Well, we've talked to a lot of guys, some who've moved on and whatnot, who are just focusing on school a lot more. How tough was it you were supposed to move up to North Bay and go to school and finish stuff there.
Yeah.
But you get to stay home. What was your mindset with all that?
Well, like I did a lot of online school over the summer, just trying to get ahead and stuff. And then, so the transition for online really wasn't much. I mean, the teachers, I'm with North Bay online. So the teachers have been really great for, balancing work and stuff, because I'm still, at the gym every day and on the ice and stuff. So they've been really open and really good with adjusting stuff if I need to. But really, it was weird because I was kind of preparing myself mentally to, be in a new school, meet new people and stuff. And then you're at home. It's kind of weird, but it's nice to be with the family and just kind of stay home. I mean, that's not where I'd like to be. I'd like to be with my teammates, but at home, I can't complain.
So are you learning from home? Like your school is entirely from home?
Yeah, I'm on my laptop. I just log in every day, and it's kind of part of my daily schedule. Yeah.
Like what's that like? Because Courtney and I haven't done school for Jesus years. But I mean, I've talked to kids who have done it, but I haven't talked to anybody in high school where it's just a totally different beast. So what's a typical day of school?
It's kind of crazy. Like it depends, like kind of teacher to teacher as well, like school to school. But for me, like right now in my course, we've set it up with like Adam and them. So it's like, I forget what they call it, but I just log in at any point during the day whenever I'm, at home for my workout. And then I just log on, and the teachers set like a daily plan. So we just go on and do all the assignments and stuff. And I know I've had some friends, they have to be on Zoom calls for 3 or 4 hours a day, which I could imagine would be just exhausting as well, staring at a screen. But, I'm lucky to be able to just kind of do it when I'm home and, when I'm ready to do it, not trying to rush through it and I'm trying to keep good grades too. So
What's the you mentioned the transition to online wasn't terrible because of the summer, but somebody like me, so I was awful at math. I need to see it in front of me. I need to have the teacher explain it about 50,000 times. What's that kind of like where it's all virtual now?
well, that's a crazy part too. Like I'm a pretty visual learner too, and grade 9 and 10 math I was in the 90s, and then this year online it's like I can't talk to the teacher, one on one. I can't get help like that, or you see it on my paper. I have to look at the screen. So my math mark wasn't what I quite wanted it to be this year, and for some subjects it's harder than others. I'm doing computer technology course right now, and I'm dang near acing it. So it kind of varies course to course, and for people to people. I mean, Tanias, our third round pick, he is quite the brains, and I'm good buddies with him. So we just try to help each other out if we're struggling, and yeah, it's been tough, but at the same time, it's rewarding when you're doing well and stuff. So
90s in math. I was lucky if I hit the 60s.
yeah, it's if I'm not in person, it's so different online. Like
Oh,
it's
for
hard.
sure.
I'm wondering how that's going to affect a lot of kids, not just like kids like you are playing hockey, but I'm wondering kids who maybe in grade 12, they want to get that credit up for university or college and whatnot. That's got to be screwing them over 7 times over.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, just and to be, strict with yourself and like with the people that are doing Zoom calls every day, like you got to be up, you got to be on your Zoom call, no distractions, especially trying to get into university. So, hats off to them. And there's a good friend of mine actually from here. He's trying to get into Nipissing right now, and I think he got in. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
And if he's up there watching North Bay games and having a buddy around from home, that'd be great. But
No kidding.
So let's look at, I guess, what would have been, actually, before I go there, let's ask. This is always a tough question to ask because of course you're still working towards your goal, and I remember when I was in high school, I didn't know the answer to this myself, and I wasn't playing hockey at a high level. If things were to kind of go the school route, what could you see yourself doing in the future if it wasn't hockey?
uh like my whole life has just been hockey, 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 right?
Yeah.
So but I've always, my dad runs our family business at home. He runs a trucking company. So I've always been kind of into business and accounting and kind of stuff like that, money management, and just trying to, learn from him. He does a pretty good job at, dealing with people on a day-to-day basis. So I think I'd probably, if my plans didn't work out, I'd get into business. And I don't know if I'd take over the family business. That's quite a task. Maybe my brother can do that, but and just try to, find a business and do my best at it.
A 90s in math, I'm sure you do just fine. I got a question. How involved are the battalion with schooling? Is maybe on your end, like personally, how involved do they get?
Not really at all, I don't think. I mean, for me anyway, we don't have much communication. I mean, we've got the guidance counselor, Mrs. Point, is mine, and she's phenomenal at just setting us up with classes that we want to take. I mean, as soon as we're in our first, like we do octomesters, so it's like one class per month, so it's not too bad. And then, she gets us set up for the next month right away, so we're ready to go when that time runs around. And it's been great on that side of things. But I haven't had to have a talk with Mr. Dennis yet about any marks or anything, so that's pretty good.
I'm sure he's happy about that.
I gotta ask, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Mrs. Point's son won a gold medal with the Canadian World Junior team a couple of years ago, Colton Point.
Oh yeah.
And well, I wasn't sure if you were aware or not, but I was just gonna say, if you were, how cool is it that you're teaching the person you deal with on the school side of things, her son's was in the same position as you guys, basically.
Yeah, that's obviously a goal of mine too, right? And so just having people around you, in school environment and the hockey environment, with those experiences, it's always great. And there's a lot of people from North Bay. Our whole coaching staff has played somewhere or another, right? So there's a lot of experiences to draw from. I mean, I've had a lot of Zoom calls just one-on-one with our coach, Ryan Ulahan. So just trying to learn from these guys and soak up as much as I can and prepare myself, with the 0 games played, there's only so much you can do, but there's a lot of experiences I can get from people, and that's what I'm just trying to do.
I feel like we're the old guys asking, so how's school going? So let's jump into some hockey. What number are you going to wear for the battalion?
14. Owen Van Steensel was on the pod, and that was his number in minor hockey, but I wore it too when I was younger, and we're not allowed to, we don't have the high numbers to pick from, so 14 was the go-to, and yeah.
What number did you play with wear the Red Devils? Was it a high number?
Yeah, I was 96.
Okay.
I went from 9 to 14 and then 97. And then McDavid came to the NHL, and my dad was like, come on, get your own number. So I just dropped a digit and went to 96. But now there's Mikko Rantanen on the Colorado team. He's pretty good too. So 14 had to change it up.
My favorite number is 20. So I'm kind of in that. I got it because I used to be a big fan of Ed Belfour growing up. And it just also happened that my birthday is on the 20th. So I was like, oh, 20 works out. So thankfully I never had anyone say, no, get your own number, because I don't know where I'd be without 20.
Oh yeah, my draft jersey has 20 on it too. So we're matching there.
There
That's
you go.
pretty awesome.
There you go.
I don't think I'd ever have a battalion number or a jersey with my favorite number 89 on it. So I'd be screwed.
Why 89?
I was born in that year, and my favorite player happened to wear the same number, Alexander McGillney.
Oh, there you go. Plus Barclay Goodrow in San Jose.
That too.
Look, battalion connections. But yep. Okay. When it came to choosing the number, was there any, you said that you wore the 14 in minor and everything. Was it tough to kind of look at what was available and or was it 14 right away?
No, yeah, I was 14 right away. I checked kind of the roster and seeing the numbers that were available, and if it wasn't 14, it was going to be 9, but there's 9 on the team. So 14 was the way to go. There wasn't really any question. There wasn't too many numbers available, but I figured I'd pick my number while it was there, and not leave it to be picked by Mr. Van Steensel there, who just signed, and he probably would have picked it. So
did he give you any grief?
He did. He texted me after he was on with you guys on the podcast, and I listened to it. I'm like, so you wanted 14, eh? And we were just kind of laughing about it, but
sorry about that. Dog-related incident had to separate them.
No worries.
Happens a lot too.
What's that?
My dogs are always going at it. Like 2 of them, they're just running outside all day and love to get into it.
Are they best friends?
Yeah, they're the same breed and stuff, so they get along really well. But yeah,
I got a 12-year-old and a 2-year-old, and I'm pretty sure the 2-year-old cannot keep up to the 12-year-old. And that's what was going on. There was having a wrestling match on the carpet.
We had 2 cats. The oldest just passed away last year thankfully before all this stuff happened, but they did not get along. They did not like one another at all. So, but those are cats.
Like me and my brother, sometimes we go along, sometimes we don't. I mean, it's kind of a day-to-day thing, right?
Is he older or younger?
My brother, he's actually a year younger, so it's his draft year coming along. Hopefully it works out for him. We'll see.
What would it be like to play, like if the battalion got him, what would it be like to play with your brother?
He's a defenseman too, so it would work out pretty well. We're not fighting for positions there on the lineup every night, but he's a really good defenseman, and if North Bay picks him, that's great. But then I don't have to play against him if he's on anybody else. But I wish him the best, and we'll see what happens.
You could save the team some money on some jersey names. You'd have 2 Christopouloses and 2 Wakeleys. So hooray for that.
Yeah. We're not twins though. That's the tough part there.
Too true.
Yeah, that's kind of the nice thing with those guys, is that you just Photoshop the number a little bit and pretend this one's Alex or whatever.
I still have trouble telling them apart. I won't lie to you.
Oh, it's not easy as a new guy in the team, and you just have absolutely no clue which one is which at the beginning. It's just.
Do they screw around with you? Would they do that?
They probably would. They haven't with me. They've been really good to me so far, but maybe once I'm up there, they can pull some pranks.
I've always wondered, like, so obviously I don't have any siblings, but obviously, so I'm not a twin, but I've always kind of wondered if you were a twin, like, would you be that person that's like, I'll take your test if you take my test type of thing? Or like, I've always kind of wondered what would that be like.
I I mean, I don't know about school, but for hockey, that'd be great. You just reading each other's mind all the time, know exactly what to do. I mean, that'd be great. But yeah, maybe they do that in school. I don't know. Keep that a secret.
I wonder if they ever, yeah, I wonder if they ever swap positions for a game and just pretend I'll play forward tonight if you play D.
Just confusing Razor on the bench. No clue what's going on.
I feel like whoever switched to defense would have just a terrible time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel, yeah, it's probably, yeah.
Quentin Byfield throwing down on you.
Well, and you know what? Paul played against Quentin quite a bit last year, so that'd be pretty. No offense to Alex, I'm sure it'd be pretty tough because it's tough on anybody. So, playing for Quinty last season, almost 2 years ago now, which is kind of crazy. You're the captain of the team. What kind of responsibilities did that bring to the table for you?
I mean, that group of us there, we played together since we were like 6 years old. So really leadership on that team wasn't, there wasn't any problems with our team. We had so many leaders on that group. It was an easy job for me to be the captain. I just, if anything had to be said, obviously I stepped up and said it, but, we were a pretty smooth sailing ship when it came to that. Donovan McCoy, he was drafted to the Petes. He's quite the leader himself there. So between me and him, and our coaching staff, I think it was a pretty easy job leadership wise. And obviously, that showed true on the ice when, we had success. So.
Over the years, I'm just looking at pictures. I was just doing some research before we started, and your hair just keeps getting shorter and shorter and shorter.
Yeah.
When's it going to come back down to here? I'm jealous.
Honestly, like if I was on here 2 days ago, you guys would have seen a little longer. I just got my mom's been my hairdresser since COVID hit, and she does a phenomenal job getting it short. So
Actually pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad. Can't tell it's not a professional doing it, but maybe playoff time if we get a season going, grow out the flow, and get a Yager look going for the playoffs.
You know what? You would become a fan favorite instantly with the Yager look.
Well, I seen one like right after the draft, there was a post on Instagram by the battalion saying something about Yager flow, and I was like, you know what, might have to grow it out again just for old times' sake.
I'm jealous. Obviously, I cut my own hair, which takes like 7 seconds. So,
I made myself a deal back in January. I said, let's just see, because I'm normally once a month I'll get my hair done, especially when you're hosting battalion games. You have to look presentable or something. Yeah, presentable. It's me after all. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna let the beard go and I'm gonna let the hair go until I get vaccinated, type of thing. And I didn't think it was gonna be like terribly long, but it's looking like it's gonna be pretty long at this point. This is the longest my hair's been since high school. So,
jeez Louise,
I'm getting a little fed up.
I don't have the facial hair that you guys have. I don't have a beard yet, so I just make up for it on the top of my head.
I wish. Trust me, in high school, for some stupid reason, whilst growing a beard, one, it wasn't as thick, but there was two like circles right here that just wouldn't grow. So I couldn't grow a beard. I looked like some kind of Frankenstein thing. I don't know how to best describe it. It was completely bald, two like crop circles in my face. I don't know why. It was embarrassing.
I remember in 7th grade, there was a kid that had a full-blown mustache, like pretty much. And it was like, how? 7th
probably
grade.
Because he was 20.
Yeah. He's like those kids that you see in the Little League World Series that aren't actually 12, but then their like thing says I am 12 on it or whatever. Just like, no.
He's got 12 home runs in 3 games.
Yeah. So we've asked this of a couple of guys too. If you weren't playing hockey, is there another sport that you could see yourself playing?
I've tried to keep it pretty diverse for sports. Like growing up, I always kind of play a different sport during the summer. I like lacrosse a lot. The native background, lacrosse just kind of was in my blood right away. And I played that for a lot of years, and also beach volleyball. What a sport that is during the summer to play. Super good for his legs and stuff. And it's just nice to be on the beach during the day and playing volleyball. So there was definitely no complaints when I was playing beach volleyball. But I guess if it wasn't hockey, it'd be lacrosse, just because I like it physical. And sometimes that translated over too much in hockey. You'd just be cross checking guys taking penalties when that's allowed in lacrosse. But it happens.
Well, and it's funny because it's not as big a sport in the country as
Mhm.
like it's still pretty big, but it's not as big as it was. I mean, I think the most famous guy I know who plays lacrosse is John Tavares' uncle, and I don't even know his first name. So,
I
um,
think it's John.
It's Johnny Tavares.
yeah, well, there it is. So, um, putting me in my place right there. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. So like, what's it kind of like? You know, I've never actually been out there in a lacrosse game, and it's a lot tougher to receive a pass with those sticks than it is to get one on your actual stick in hockey too.
Yeah, like I grew up watching. Like I was born in Peterborough, but I live like half an hour away from there. So I grew up watching a lot of the Pete's OHL and the Peterborough Lakers, which is the major series lacrosse team there. There's a lot of great lacrosse players have come through there. So I was on the floor a lot. You know, in the intermissions, they'd let the kids on the floor and you bounce your ball off the glass. So a lot of practice there when I was young, and then just getting passes. I played when I was like 8 or 9 years old, so the passes weren't absolutely getting whipped at me, but it kind of is. It's not too bad. Just the hand-eye coordination from hockey kind of carries over for the air catching the ball, but sometimes it can be difficult when it's flying at your knees or something.
I don't know
I
how the
remember playing
goalies
in
stop
gym
them.
class in high school, and kids were whipping the rubber ball at each other at like Mach 4 speeds, and it was just a dumpster fire out there.
That's scary. Like a field lacrosse as the goalie, they don't even have like barely any equipment. I couldn't handle that. That's
Nope, no thank you.
a line there, but
Yeah, I don't like I said, I don't know how the goalies even stop them. Like going way too fast, and it's so small too that you have to stop.
yeah. I love the physical part though. Just being able to cross check guys, no penalties or anything. That's the best, man.
So how tough? Kind of like you mentioned sometimes it comes a little bit too strong at hockey. How tough is it to change the mindset from going from one to the other like that?
Yeah, when it comes to penalties, it's pretty difficult. I mean, you'd have if you ask my coach from Quinny, he'd certainly like me to take less penalties. I think I was like fourth in the league last year. I finished, but I'll definitely be cleaning that up. I think like a lot of it is different in hockey because especially in minor hockey, like big hits and stuff, they just like even if it's not a penalty, they just blow it down. They don't want any injuries and stuff like that getting carried away. But yeah, it's definitely difficult. The stick work in lacrosse and hockey is so much different. But luckily, I kind of have enough time to switch over through practice and stuff. I'm not doing that too much.
How would you describe your game? I know you put up a lot of points in your last season playing with Quinny, but how would you describe your game?
I like to be as well rounded as possible. I watch a lot of Sidney Crosby. He's been my favorite player growing up. So, just watching him do all aspects of it, take important faceoffs. That's a big thing for me as a centerman. I want to be out there with a minute left, taking the face off, and just being able to play defense as well as contribute offensively. That's the biggest thing. I think if you look at guys getting older, trying to make the NHL the jump, if you can play defense, you're probably going to stick quicker than a guy that needs to work on his game on defense. So I think a lot of it is just trying to stay as well rounded as possible. And a big focus for me, like last year, I was like 168 pounds or something. And now I'm weighing in at like 193.
Wow.
So I've put on a lot of weight in the gym, and I've just been trying to up my foot speed and stay fast because 25 pounds can slow you down if you don't keep your feet moving. So
I was about to say,
yeah.
did the battalion know that?
I don't know if they do. I was just gonna kind of keep it as a surprise and come in ready to go, but now the secret's out, and I'm just trying to maintain the good weight there, 190, 193, and just try to be fast. I mean, if you're fast, look at Connor McDavid. That guy's 4 or 5 points a night. So, speed is definitely the biggest part of this game right now, and that's my biggest focus.
When it comes to picking your journey to trying to get to the NHL now, it's a lot more diverse than it used to be. Of course, there's the NCAA route, there's the major junior route, before it just seemed like if you were born in Ontario, you were going the major junior route. You wanted to play in the OHL. Now there's a lot more guys going with the NCAA route. For you, was it always kind of the OHL or bust?
Yeah, I wouldn't say bust. Like obviously, you got to keep your doors open there. So obviously, like I said, growing up watching Peterborough Petes every night, their Thursday night, their home games, I think it was always, if I want to make the NHL, this is where I got to go. Just seeing talents like Nick Ritchie on the ice, obviously, he's in the NHL now. Darnell Nurse, guys like that, just seeing them there, I think it kind of set the path for me as I want to go to the OHL. Obviously, that was my goal since I was little. But obviously, like you said, like Jack Eichel, guys like that going NCAA. He's from the US, right? But it's a good option for guys if they want to take that route. But for me, I like school, but sooner I can be done school, the better. Just playing hockey. So OHL's been great. Hopefully it's great. We'll see. Yeah, but it's been my dream my whole life.
So before I lead to this next question, I'll ask you a different one first. With that Wendell Clark jersey above your shoulder that you were showing off earlier, does that make you a Leaf fan, or are you a Pittsburgh fan because you mentioned Crosby?
Oh, I'm definitely a Pittsburgh fan. Certainly not a Leafs guy. If they're, I like Austin Matthews. He's a sniper, man. But I do enjoy watching them lose just because the fan base goes so nuts. Every loss, it's funny to see on Sportsnet and stuff. Just who should we trade now?
Yeah,
time for Marner to leave or something. Just crazy.
I imagine next time Jack Campbell loses a game, they'll have his head. So
yeah, he'll be on the trade block probably, ready to head out. But they've been insane this year. So
I love Jack Campbell. I will never say anything bad about Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell is saving the Leafs season right now after that little rough speed.
And everybody wants him out of there. Like I think they just play him too much. He's quite the goalie.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think he's pretty good too, but I'm definitely behind Jack Campbell right now. So, but I was also I was a big James Reimer fan, and I was always going to be wherever James Reimer goes, I'll follow him type of thing. Not necessarily fan wise, but I'll always watch him. And Jack Campbell's kind of the second coming, better version of James Reimer. So.
I mean, Jonathan Bernier's having a year in Detroit for how bad they're doing. Maybe they can get him back for a playoff run.
Yeah, I was never a Jonathan Bernier fan because I was of the opinion that Reimer basically single-handedly took the Leafs to the playoffs. It's not his fault. They blew that 4-1 lead, and then they're like, we'll go get Jonathan Bernier. Or if it's not get rid of Marner or Anderson, it's get rid of Willie. So it's just kind of anyways.
I like Willie too. He's on my fantasy team.
There you go. I got Hyman and Mikheyev, so I'm doing okay with those guys right now.
Not bad.
So I was going to ask then, it is a battalion podcast, but of course, growing up in the Peterborough area, I'm sure until last April, you were a Peterborough Petes fan. Now you have to be a battalion fan, of course. I was going to ask, what was it like watching, those two Leafs prospects and Robertson and SDA, right there in your own backyard almost?
Yeah, like they're crazy nuts. I mean, it's nice to have a Leafs prospect there, Robertson, but he's such a fast guy, and his hands are so fast. Guys like that are nice to watch just because I'm a little bigger and stuff, and I play a different style. But if I can take stuff from their game and try to add it to mine, all the better. But to be honest, the last couple of years I've been a neutral OHL fan. Just preparing. I might not be a Pete one day, so I've got to be be a fan of wherever I go in North Bay. If you see my YouTube search history, like I've tried to look up North Bay highlights so many times and just find games. Like I'm a diehard battalion fan right now, and I'm not even I haven't played a game, but I'm a fan for life.
Well, that's good to know for sure. I mean, not that we don't like the Petes, but we don't like the Petes. So
yeah.
And of course, as you've heard on this podcast, a lot of people do not like playing that arena. So
yeah, that and Sudbury. Everybody rips Sudbury. I don't like Sudbury, so
yeah, I think it comes with the territory. So
welcome to the team.
Yes, we're happy to have you. So you mentioned earlier that you made it up here to North Bay for a bit of a getaway and whatnot. What was your kind of impressions of the city? Did you get a tour of Memorial Gardens and all that stuff as well?
Yeah, I honestly had I'd been there when I was really little, but I didn't really remember. So just to see, like, it was the summertime, and just to see the city, like it was so beautiful on the lake and stuff. And I met my billets there on the water too. So it's a nice town. I'm a country guy too. It kind of has that country kind of feel to it. So it's really nice. And yeah, Memorial Gardens kind of reminds me a little bit of the Memorial Center in Peterborough for some reason. My grandpa said the same thing. So
I think it's that section of the arena that goes really high up for me anyway.
yeah,
With it's square.
yeah, it's got the Queen in the background and everything. It's nice rink. I can't explain how happy I am to be in North Bay and how excited I am. I mean, like just talking to guys on a regular basis, they've been so great. Obviously, Ty Nelson, extreme talent as well, going to be there. So, just excited is all I can say.
Yeah, that was gonna kind of be my next question. As we've talked to Ty before, of course, but you're kind of the second guy of and Owen Van Steensel, so you're kind of part of that group of young guys coming in and Tanias and whatnot. That there seems to be a lot of hype and buzz about you guys. I know it's been a year now, but it feels like yesterday that you guys were drafted. But there's a lot of buzz around the team and whatnot. Do you guys feel any extra pressure that you guys haven't necessarily played a game in the OHL yet, but there's a lot of hope on you guys?
I mean, for me, I look at pressure as like, I love pressure. I like to have that kind of, you got to do good or, people are going to be upset kind of thing. I mean, I always push myself as hard as I can. And the great thing is about this group, even, Arnsby and the Christopoulos twins and, Mitch Russell, all these guys, I mean, they work harder than, anybody I've ever played with. I mean, and Kidnelly, you see guys, he's posting pictures of himself. He's definitely ready to go. So, I mean, I think, I don't know if they look at it as like, tough pressure. I think we all kind of look at it the same way, like we're ready to go. And pressure is a good thing, I guess, right? Expectations are good because, we earned them for a reason and, we hope to live up to them. Like I said, I know Tanias and all these guys are working extremely hard and, I hopefully we can put on some exciting hockey when we get back.
I'm wondering, with a First Nations background, you mentioned earlier in the podcast, were there any kind of barriers and whatnot growing up playing hockey, or is it just as smooth a sailing as you could hope for?
Fortunately for me, it's been pretty smooth sailing. I mean, there's some incidents on the ice where guys kind of, know of your background or something and they'll say something or something. But for me, it's just kind of been water off the back. I mean, I don't, it's part of the game, I guess, chirping. And if they want to take it that far, then they can take it that far. But, it's kind of been fortunate for me. It hasn't been too bad, but I know, my ancestors and, great grandparents and stuff have had to go through tougher things. So, I'm fortunate to not have really experienced all that. And, I'm lucky in North Bay, my billets are actually First Nation as well. So there's kind of that connection there too. And, I'm excited to, live with them when I move away. And yeah, I'm just fortunate, I haven't had to face anything like that.
Moving to North Bay too, a place that has such a background with, First Nations and Indigenous activities and stuff. What is that like? It's got to be kind of nice to know that you're heading towards a community that's so forward on that as well.
No, yeah, definitely like super comforting. I mean, Adam told me when I first signed with the team that, he kind of wanted to get me settled with billets right away. And he had mentioned that there was 5 or 6, Native families that have reached out and wanted to, take me in. So that was super comforting right away, just knowing, there's people in the community there that wanted, me to be a part of their homes. And I think that's been the great thing about North Bay is, they've been so, open arms to me. I've had absolutely no complaints or nothing like that. So having a family up there and just the community there as well, it'll be great. And I look forward to it.
How are your parents feeling about that? Because you haven't been away from home, so what do they feel?
Yeah, like they were with me when we met the Billets, and we sat there for an hour or two just talking to them, and it'll be hard. I think obviously, my family is super close. I think all families are, but our Native background, we our entire family through COVID has tried to keep together as much as we can, and I think just leaving home, it'll be a tough day for my parents. And then when I see my parents start to, get a little sad or whatever, it might, get under my skin. But you know, they've been super open arms with me, and you know, they've got a dog up there so that he can comfort me when I'm there.
There you go. There's worse ways to do it. I remember when I first moved out and I went to school in Sudbury. I was only in Sudbury, so only an hour and a half away. And my mom said she cried all the way back. So I'm sure it'll be rough.
My mom cried in the place. Like I moved 8 hours away from home. I was in Toronto for school, and mom cried in the basement apartment I had just like signed a lease to. Like I was signing my name, and she's bawling, and is like, okay, I'll see you in like a month at Christmas. So
It's always tough. You
No.
don't know what to say. Like, how do you comfort your parents that are crying? I don't know what to do or say, but
Yeah. No, I'm
a
with you.
hug, and we'll see you later.
Yeah.
Best you can do.
The moment that got me, so I expected it from my mom, but my stepdad always has that like rough, like, I don't like you and you don't like me type of attitude. And it's just kind of the back and forth that we have. He doesn't mean it or anything, but that was the moment that got me. Was he kind of got choked up as he was shaking my hand before I was leaving. I was like, oh my God. Like, so I'm sure it'll be fine for you, especially since they can come up and watch you play OHL hockey. How cool is that, right? So
oh, they'll be up. Yeah, my mom will be up every Sunday for the home game, guaranteed.
there you go. There's worse ways to spend a Sunday in the winter.
Yeah.
Well, Dolan, we really appreciate the time again. Again, wonderful talking to you. It's been a year, so it's crazy to think how long it's been, but we really appreciate your time coming on the podcast today.
No, thanks a lot, guys. And as you know, I'm a huge fan. So if I ever get the invite back, I look forward to it.
Oh, you'll get an invite back, I promise.
Yeah. And here's hoping that you have a couple of games under your belt at that point.
No, yeah, no 0 games chirps anymore.
If it's
Well,
any consolation, we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have too many guests on here that we're in the same boat with when it comes to the OHL. So
It's
for
true.
now, we really appreciate it.
Glad to be a part of the team.
All right, that was Dolan Wakely, whose name has probably been said about 17 different times in the podcast, but hey, he's a big fan, so I'm sure he'll forgive us. I'm Tom Parisi. He's Courtney Kenny, and we got to say thank you again to our producer, Ben Sargent, for making us sound as fantastic as we kind of do. And again, if you want to listen to us, there's a lot of different ways nowadays. You can watch us on YouTube. You can see, I apparently am doing the podcast from heaven today. And you can see sometimes the dogs make a couple of appearances. You can catch us on Apple Music, Google Podcast, Spotify, and you can watch us on your TV as well, which is fantastic. And if you want the full podcast, if you're watching on your TV, go to those other places. And anytime, any place, Battalion social media. All right. This was a lot of fun. It's the Frontline Podcast, and we should do it again sometime.